Right, guys. So we are recording starting from here for our Comic Guild today, and we are talking about cover arts. So I know some of you guys already had some ideas on what that can be, what it looks like. Is there any cover art that sticks out in your head, maybe from a comic or even a book that you really like? The cover art, what it looked like for that book. Yes, Josie?
So I like the book Smile.
Okay.
Of course, Madeline's gonna say I love it too.
Okay.
And
what does the cover look like on that one?
it's like a smiley face with braces or something.
Oh.
Kind of like an emoji.
I have it in my room. Why don't you go get it?
It's kind of like an emoji.
Sister likes that book. Yeah, it's basically an emoji, but a little.
Here, I have it. Right here.
Yeah. Right here. Yeah, that's.
Oh, there we go. Cool. Yeah.
I also want to read Ghosts.
And then there's sisters and guts. There's sisters and guts.
I want to read those too.
Okay.
I have one of them, just so you know.
So, okay. So you got Smile for one of our books there. Thank you, Gigi. That's really neat. I love how simple it is, but it kind of sticks out in your head, huh? Especially with the shiny material on the teeth there. Interesting. Is there another cover that in your head you think of and you know exactly what that book is and you can just remember what the cover looks like really well in your mind? Nice teeth, Josie. Yes, Gigi?
I have one. It's a dictionary of snakes, but it doesn't have all the snakes because some of them have been discovered that aren't in the book.
Oh, wow.
But I had a play date with Celeste, who's in second grade, because her sister is at horseback riding, and so I played with her, and she likes snakes too. So I gave her the book to borrow. So sadly don't have it in my room, but it has really cool snakes. And while we were eating dinner, we had Post-its, and we were putting it on lots of pages because all the snakes looked really cool. And we were putting it on the snakes that we thought looked really pretty and cool. Except there were some snakes that head in the book, it said actual size, that heads were like that.
Wow.
Doesn't have much of a cover, but it shows the snake. So.
Yeah, it shows a snake.
I can remember that.
Generally, the cover has some kind of an indication of what's on the inside of the book, right? And some of them are really memorable in our head. A lot of us have talked about the giving tree. We've referenced that a couple times. You guys remember the cover, right? You can think of it in your head. Where the sidewalk ends. You know what? I have that one handy right here. Let me grab it. So we've talked about Shel Silverstein. His covers tend to stick out in our minds. This one had a lot of green, which we think of. We always think of the cover being green. And then we can usually think a little bit of what that image was like if we've read this book before. Same thing with this one. This is kind of a really memorable image right here of the kids coming over to where the sidewalk ends, right? So cover art is super important because it really sticks out in our head a lot of times. And it's surprising how much we remember it, even long time after we finish the book, the cover art. So I want to show you guys some different examples. Some different examples of cover art here. I'm going to share my screen for a moment. Before I do that, does anybody else have one you're thinking of that you wanted to share?
Here's my bird.
Oh, I'm sorry, Josie. So Josie lost her bird today, you guys. She's pretty sad about it.
You could bury the bird. Just make sure that no coyotes or wolves tries to unbury it and eat it.
Yeah, we're gonna find like a rock, paint it, put her name on it, and then.
Aren't you in New York though?
Yes.
Wouldn't that kind of be hard? Because then when you go back to Tahoe, you can't see the bird. But that's also a smart idea. I don't think that you would want it in the plane. They won't allow it.
But I also can call my grandma and FaceTime
That's
my grandma.
right. You sure can.
Rock.
Yep, and it's all about kind of how your heart is wherever you put your bird, huh? So even if
we put her favorite thing in it, since there was no other birds in it, a mirror, so she'd always look in it and pretend like and be like, there's like another yellow parakeet.
Yeah. Oh, I love that, Josie. That's very sweet.
So we put this in here.
Nice. All right, you guys, I'm gonna go ahead and go into my share screen, and I'm just gonna show you guys some cover art that I found for you that I wanna show you. So let me see. Whoops, let me go over and share. Whoops, wrong one. Hang on. Let me get back over into the. I'm sorry, you know what? I actually, is that Isabella?
My computer battery is dying.
Oh, I'm sorry.
My computer is dying.
Okay, well, if your computer battery dies, I am recording this, Isabella, okay? So okay, so if it dies, I have everything up until yesterday on your speaker website. But if it dies, you can watch the recording, okay?
What is this website called?
So this is actually just on Pinterest, you guys. So I am looking at cover art here on Pinterest. Hey, Kaden.
How do you get there?
Is that? I'm sorry, Isabella, I can't quite hear you. But if it
How do
dies,
you get there?
so I'm actually, if you go, it dies, you can watch the recording. Okay? Let me make sure I got everybody muted here. Funny audio stuff. There we go.
So how get to your
Cover art here.
No, but how do I get?
All right, everybody.
It's being annoying. Can you guys please stop?
For the cover art, you guys, all I did was go into, this is Pinterest, and it's comic cover art, or you can do it in Google Image, comic cover art, and it's gonna show you all different kind of images. Okay, so that's all that is here, and I just wanted to show you a couple different images of cover art because it can be super interesting. Sometimes it's really detailed, right? Sometimes it's really detailed. Sometimes it's a little bit more simple, but it's full color. So I'm gonna show you some examples because we're gonna make our own cover art, and it's kind of a fun thing to study. So let's see. Whoops, let me move our pictures here. All right, so these are some of your classic comic books. I don't know if you guys have heard of like Superman, some of those classic old school comics. And this is some of the cover art that the artist created for it.
What would I search to get there?
So if you go into, you could do it in Google, in your Google, when you click it, click on image. If you go comic cover art.
Okay.
Comic cover art. And that's where we're on right now for this one, comic cover art.
My uncle is really good at making good cartoons, like the Superman that you can see right next to that building that looks like an S.
Yeah.
He could like draw that. He's really good.
Cool, cool. There's a Hope in 5th grade. Her dad is really good too at drawing comics. So here's some examples, and I wanted to show you, number one, a lot of times when you're working on a comic or when you're looking at a comic that's especially kind of the older style, a lot of times the pages on the inside are black and white, but then the cover is full color, maybe a little bit more detailed, maybe a little bit more kind of the technical skills we've been working on, a lot of shading and shadow, that line work that we've talked about a little bit. Right? So it's a little bit more intricate when we're looking at the cover art. Katie, I know you're just coming in. Today we're talking about
that, Albert.
So that is a really old, it was actually a cartoon. I want to say 60s or 70s even that it came out. It was super, super old. And it was kind of a comedy, like a comic, like the kind of comics you'd see in the newspaper, like Peanuts or Garfield, that kind of fun, humorous comic. That's the kind of comic that was.
Albert.
Yep, it's kind of, it's a funny one. There was a guy that had a hat that came like super down on his face that I remember really well. So we're looking at cover art, Katie, and we're talking about cover art. I would like for you guys, as we go through this comic book guild, I'd like for you to be thinking of the stories that you've come up with so far. If there's one in particular that you really like, that we could develop a little bit more and that we could create cover art for. All right, so if you have a story in your head, maybe you think of one of the characters or one of the scenes. You can see some of these don't necessarily have something very specific going on. Maybe there's not a whole lot of setting, but it's more detailed. For instance, if we look over at this Batman one over here on the right, we can see Batman and Robin. Whoops, let's get August in there too. We can see Batman and Robin, and then we just see it's kind of a simple background, right? It's all black, but it really brings our attention to the characters. So we're paying a little more attention to Batman and Robin and what they've got going on, right? Big title. Now, another thing I want to talk to you about with the cover art is if you have an idea in your head, a story in your head, and you're thinking about the cover art for it, a big consideration is the title, maybe where you're going to put your name, you're the author. Maybe there's a little subheading. So maybe you have a story, you have the name of the character or whatever your title is, and then there's a subheading in there. So when people are creating cover art, they're also thinking about space for the text, how that composition goes with space for the text, because that's kind of part of your picture, right? To put in some text in there. So you can see again with the Batman image, that's a big part of that picture, right? Batman across the top with that shape, that bat shape behind. All right, so
I'm
that's
interested in, do you dare enter the house of mystery?
the House of Mystery. I don't know. I think it might be a little bit hairy in there. It looks kind of like, reminds me of Scooby-Doo a little bit, where it's a little nerve-wracking to get to go inside.
I want to read
Also,
that.
it catches your eye though, right? That's good cover art because it catches your eye when you're looking at it. You think about it, probably think about it a little bit later. You know, it kind of catches your attention. So that's another
Wait, can you read them on Pinterest?
Probably not. In this area of Pinterest, this is specifically talking about the cover. So I don't think you'd be able to read them, but if you find one you like, you might be able to search for that specific title and see if you can find a couple pages that you can flip through. So most of these are kind of your classic superhero type of cover art, and that's just one style. But I did want to show you guys these, and you can look for other, if you're more interested in the humorous kind of Peanuts or Garfield, or even just current, more humorous, funny kind of comics. You can also.
I love Garfield.
Garfield, yep. And let's see. I don't know if I can find Garfield cover art, but let's take a look and see. Maybe we can, because he kind of was more of a comic strip where there wasn't really a cover, but maybe. All right. Well, we got the cover of the cat treats. And we have some Garfield art for sure.
I love Garfield. He's
There
my
we go.
favorite.
So you can see kind of there where you have the title in there where he's poking through the page. So that would be a great cover for Garfield art, right? Because you get he's a big part of the comic, right? Is just Garfield, the character himself, more so than maybe the setting and all of that. So
I have a big book of Garfield that has 3 books in it.
You do?
When I was younger, my mom used to, when we got the newspaper, she would always give me the Garfield one. And I remember being just looking at the pictures, not really knowing why she was giving me it.
Yeah. Well, Garfield, I think for a lot of us, it just makes us feel really warm, makes us feel really happy. So if we're thinking about the cover art, if we were to do Garfield, we would think about kind of finding an image that helps us to portray that, right? To really think about the character. There's a lot of food subject in Garfield, so maybe there'd be food on the cover, right? And then we'd be considering the title as well.
Miss Veronica?
Yes.
So this is one of the books, and it's about skateboarders, so you can like do this kind of stuff. And my idea was that if you're doing like tech dudes or some sort of thing like that, what you can do for maybe tech dudes or skateboarding stuff or biking stuff is what I did to this guy's board is you can put your name inside the board.
Yeah, very good idea. So that's a really,
And then
really
this
nice
book is about like
way to use text on a
chasing
cover
them
too.
down.
Yeah.
So you can put
Right.
see, this character is the one that got the board. So like maybe if you're going to do it a different way, you might draw him without a board. But this is kind of the end.
Totally.
So
Yeah, so that would be a really good way to incorporate text into if you're doing cover art, right? To use the skateboard like that. So I think I'm going to go ahead. You guys see some examples here of cover art and how it can be in this type of context. I'm going to show you some other ones that I have physical physical comics too and cartoons that I'm going to show you also. So I have showed you guys the New Yorker before, which is more like political cartoon type thing. But the New Yorker is really interesting because, let me get my example here. So there's generally a cover of some kind that's full color, right? And then there's the title, just like we've been talking about. And then on the inside, we get our cartoons generally black and white. Generally black and white. So these are political cartoons. So a lot of times it's just one image that sums up the whole story, right? So that's just a little different style, but we have a little more color and detail on the front. And then we have black and white, maybe a little more simpler on the inside of the book. And that goes for their magazines too. And we've looked, I think, at this one here with the alien before. So full color, lots of detail, really intricate line work, right, on the cover. But then as we go in towards the inside, we're gonna see more kind of the black and white, a little more simple cartoons. So what I'd like for you guys to think about today, oh, one more example. I don't know if you guys remember the Archie and Veronica comics. Or I guess it's not always. It can be Betty and Veronica or Archie and Betty and all the different combinations of the characters. But they generally still have color on the inside of the comic. But on the front, there's a lot of attention to the text. So who's in the characters, or who's the main characters of the story. And there'll be a lot of room for the text there too. Maybe these kind of 3D letters type thing. So some people really get into the text, into the fonts, and how that looks on the title. So some of you guys might find that something that's interesting to you and that you want to really consider when we go into cover art. Hey, Sydney, I know you're just catching up. We're talking about cover art today and the covers of your stories. So what I want you to do today is think about, it could be a story that you already have in the making, or maybe you choose Garfield or another character that you really like already. And I'd like for you to design a little bit of cover art. It doesn't have to be huge. You could use a whole page, or you can just draw yourself a little square and design it. And I want you to just show me a little bit of cover art. Just think about what we've talked about. Think about where the heading would be. Maybe it's something creative, like in the skateboard. All right, maybe it's something like we were talking about with Batman, where the shape of the bat is behind the title. So I just want you to think about some cover art and then start sketching something out. Now, if you want to use some paints, if you want to get going and with more detail, more color, that's totally fine with me too. It doesn't have to be a sketch. It can actually be something where you're actually working with your paints as well. All right?
Since I'm writing my book on Google Docs, I can't really draw.
That's
so
okay.
I upload pictures from the internet.
Totally, you can do that. I actually started looking at yours, the Water Queen, right? That you're working on? Yeah. So if you want to keep working on that in your program, you can always just send that to me like you did before too. Or I might probably still be able to.
Miss Veronica, my computer is gonna die in 10 minutes.
10 minutes, okay. So 10 minutes, who was that? Was that Isabella?
Do you have a charger?
Yeah, it's attached to my computer right now.
Do you want to go somewhere where you can go to a plug, or? So we
No, it's already plugged. Wait a minute.
Okay.
Is it plugged in even? It's not plugged in, that's why.
That'll do it. Good observation, Isabella. Nice work. Okay, so cover art. Working on cover art, anything you want to do. It could be one of your stories that you have already, or it could be something that a character that you're familiar with. All right, so a little bit of cover art. Now, if this isn't really exciting to you, it doesn't really sound that fun, why don't you just give me a little thumbnail, little image, little sketch of your cover art, and then you can get back to work on something that you want to work on, okay? If you want to work on something different, but I would like you to do a little bit of drawing with me while I'm still here with you guys. All right.
I haven't drawn a cover art since I'm working on my cartoon.
That's okay. You can keep working on it.
Because now I get to watch TV and my mom can't say no to it.
After you finish? That sounds like a good deal to me. All right, you guys. So if the cover art's not really that exciting to you, I want you to be able to enjoy this class, okay? So if the cover art's not really that exciting to you right now, you can do either a little sketch and just show me an idea for some cover art, and you can go ahead and get to work on either your comic that you're already working on, your story you're already working on, or another project that you want to show me too. But I would love for you to be able to ask me questions and show me what you're working on, so that I can give you feedback. And if you don't feel comfortable showing me here, you can always email it to me too.
I'm looking at little clips of Garfield pages to get ideas for my funny comic.
Nice. Cool, Josie. So I'm going to stop our recording here. So you'll be able to see the kind of the beginning there of the lesson and the cover art there. And then I'm going to stop the recording, so that'll be available for you guys, and we'll keep working on our own.